still have 5 minutes.
No.
Feels
I
like
know, no, I know. I realized, like, I walked in during the night. Don't let me forget.
Oh, I will try.
Don't have to get quiet just yet. We've got a couple minutes. Somehow or another, we're not usually ahead of time. We've got 4 minutes to give it. Oh, no, no, no. Quite the contrary. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely. This is known as the challenge. Bad habits rub off.
My dad is extremely punctual, and when he came to Judea, that was like the first thing to start at 6:15. So then it became a running joke. Like,
I love it.
it became a running joke, and then they started playing music at like started being like, can't get crazy.
But you have to start somewhere. You have to establish.
Right.
This is, and he's a football guy, right?
He is a football
Eagles
guy.
So
yes, he
you
is.
can appreciate the fact, you want to change the team around.
Exactly.
You got to
be
establish the culture. Very important part.
Yeah. I was telling Christine, he's like fun.
And with you.
He's like an encyclopedia of knowledge. Like he just has all these facts that
So he's a Jeopardy guy.
Yes, yeah, and he just you're
get
like,
him on
how do you
Jeopardy
know
now.
this?
Come on,
He
Jeopardy.
would. Oh,
Like great
Actually.
advertisement for the show.
Yeah. He would do very. He would never do it, but he would do so well.
No, probably. But I get that.
Yeah. It's not me. I don't like fun facts or trivia.
Really? Can't even imagine. It's gonna help. Think of that environment. That's gonna.
Shabbat shalom.
So when I first came to Sag Harbor, I made a good sense. One of the challenges, however, you may not think of it this way, why is holiday in Israel. In Israel, the world stops, literally. No matter where you are in the country, there's this time. And this is not just Jews. a natural challenge. For us, the most important story year after our knowledge magnitude also our community and try to create a balance between our normal joyful Shabbat service and yet at the same time knowing that this so we have our own set. Then we'll have a little bit of a light up. Tonight we're very honored. To begin our Tekes remembrance, 500. I just realized that entire thing I said was not mic'd for those that were online, so, you know, sometimes what you miss not being here in person, I suppose. But for those that are joining us again, we are going to begin our service of remembrance of the Shoah. Before we begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service, we're on page 524, and we're going to read responsively. This, of course, by the way, is a famous poem by Primo Levi. You who live secure, your warm houses, burn and find hot food. Consider whether this
Man who labors in the mud, who knows no peace, who fights for a crust of bread, who dies at a yes or no. Consider whether this is a woman, without hair or name, with no more strength to remember, eyes empty and womb cold as a frog in winter.
consider that this has and brave them on the hearts of your house, walk on go to bed with God. Repeat, may your house come. Offspring, moments we're going to invite light light these lives in countless others light these hold in our memory. Light the first light up half Dr. Oppenheimer, board member. We now welcome up Sally Morse. Now welcome up Sandra Dubin, Holocaust educator who has taught many times in our community, most recently to our teens. For the fourth candle, I'm going to light on behalf of our board member and dear friend Susie Kurz-Snyder in memory of her father, Anton Jacob Kurz, a remarkable person. My office is named for him and was actually the first funeral that I officiated A remarkable story. Should you find Susie, please make sure that she tells you that story, and someday, hopefully, we'll get her to share that with our entire community. For our fifth candle, we invite up Rivlin Zweig. Next, we'll welcome our guest speaker for this evening, Emily Hand. And lastly, we'll invite up our office manager, dear friend, Gail Pinto. Thank you to all of those who helped us to light this evening. I invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we turn to page 533. We'll offer the special mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Liyom HaShoah. Yitkadal Auschwitz, Vayitkadash Lodz, Shemei Rabbah, Ponar, Ve'alma Divra Chirutei Babayar, Ve'amlich Malchutei, Maidanik, V'chayechon u'v'yomechon Berchanau, U'v'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Kovna, V'agala V'zman Kariv Yanauska, V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevarach La'alam U'li'almei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach Theresienstadt, V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam Buchenwald, V'yitnaseh V'yithadar Treblinka, V'yit'aleh V'yithalal Vilna, Shemei de Kudsha Barichu Bergen-Belsen, Le'ela Mathausen, Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Dachau, Tushbechata V'nechemata Minsk, Da'amiran Be'alma, Warsaw, V'yimru. Amen. Yehei Shalama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Uya Aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru. Amen. Yichronam Livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated.
Oifen Pripetschik brennt a Feuerel und in Stubis Hiss und der Rebel lernt kleine Kinderlech dem Olive Biss und der Rebel lernt kleine Kinderlech dem Olive Biss. Seid she kinderlech, gedenkt she teire, was ihr lernt do. Soch she noch amol und tage noch amol, komet's alle vor. Soch she noch amol und tage noch amol, komet's Aleph O.
Before we continue to our Shabbat service, I want to invite us all just to take a few moments of silent reflection. We open our eyes, let's take a deep breath in, a deep breath out, and acknowledge that our shift from where we just were to where we're going is dissonant, to say the very least. And I don't think we should try to make it anything other than that. But I'll remind us as we are about to kindle our Shabbat lights that the representation of light in our tradition is not a simple symbol. It's a reminder to us that throughout our time, especially in exile, especially in dispersion, especially in the scariest moments, even when in the camps, even when in the ghetto, whenever possible, candles are found. They are kindled, blessings are said, and Shabbat is welcome. Time and time again, you hear stories of those who survived the camps and those who didn't survive but lived through it, turning to our tradition, turning to the wisdom of the ancients, turning to that which again gives us hope. And we are no different. In every instance in which we feel afraid, in every instance in which we feel the world pressing in, our tradition tells us, come together, be together, pray together, and light these candles with full heart, and especially tonight, knowing how many were not able to do so, how many we lost. We light these candles all the more so, carrying with us the souls of those who were taken, and reminding ourselves again of the renewed hope of our people. To honor us by lighting our Shabbat candles tonight, we're going to invite up Marie Weller. Wellers will be sponsoring our oneg tonight in memory of their dear Ron Weller. Marie is going to do, I'm sure, as always, yes, beautiful job lighting our candles. Blessings are found on page 120. Thank you. Turn now to begin Kabbalat Shabbat services on page 130. And I know that it may take a little while for us, to find our ruach, to find our spirit. We're grateful, of course, to have our student cantor Emma and to have Christine back with us tonight. Fight the instinct that tells you to not sing. Okay? Sing through it. Sing broken. Okay? Sing with all you got. We'll join together, page 130.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzori shenu, nekad mafana v'toda. Naria, naria, litzori shenu, bizmirat naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai.
Turn now to page 131.
Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, safru v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim nifleotav, Ki gadol Adonai, u'mehulam me'od, norahu, al kol Elohim, ay, shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru Shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato.
Turn now to Or Zaru on the bottom of page 132.
Or Zaru alai tzadik, uli Yisrael simcha. Or Zaru alai tzadik, uli Yisrael simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu l'zecher kodsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu l'zecher kodsho.
Turn now to the top of page 134, Zamru Ladonai.
Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, bechatzotrot v'kol shofar. Haru lifnei hamelech Adonai, Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, Bechatzotrot v'kol shofar. Haru lifnei hamelech Adonai. Hiram hayam umlo'o, tevel v'yoshveva. Neharot yimcha uchav, yachad harim yironenu. Lifnei Adonai kiva, lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amim b'meisharim. Hiram hayam umlo'o, tevel v'yoshveva. Neharot yimcha uchav, yachad harim yironenu.
We turn now to page 135, Romamu, which is the last Hebrew paragraph in the middle of the page.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו.
We turn now to the 29th Psalm on page 136. Mizmor LeDavid, Avu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Avu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, Avu l'Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, Adonai al mayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover harazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, Vayarkideim kemo egel Levanon, Vesiryon kemo ben reimim, kemo ben reimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lehabotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel hayalot, Vayechesof ye'arot, Uvechalo kulo merkavod, kulo merkavod, kulo merkavod. Adonai lama b'hu yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. We'll turn now to L'chadodi on page 138. We'll turn to, again, 138 and do the first, second, fifth, and ninth paragraphs. For the final one, we'll rise and face the doors that we walked through just a few moments ago. And while we are very excited to bring the dancing back, I think for this evening, for tonal reasons, perhaps not the evening to dance. So page, again, 138. We'll begin with the first paragraph, and we'll follow student cantor Emma. Again, page 138.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hameyuchad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad l'shem ultiferet ve'letila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat lekabela, likrat Shabbat lechu velecha ki mekor, haberacha merosh mikedem, nesucha sof maaseh, במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת לקבלה התעוררי כי באורך גומי Beri kevod Adonai, alayich nigla lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Shalom, ateret bala gam besimcha, uvetzol atoch emuneh am segula, boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela.
Please be seated as we turn to page 140.
Tzadikata yifrach ke'erez balvanon iskeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim Yeshar Adonai Tzuri velo avlata
Rise in body or spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144, and for the Baruch Hu on the next page will remain standing. Yitkadal vehitkadash shemei rabab ve'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala uvizman kariv ve'imeru
Amen.
Yehi shmei rabab mevarach Le'alam le'almei almaya yitbarach ve'yishtabach bidbar bitramam ve'yitnaseh ve'yitadar ve'yitalev ve'yitalal shemei dekudsha
B'richu
Leila min kol berchata ve'shirata
ושפחתה ונחמתה דמירן בהמה ואמרו
Amen.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai המבורך לעולם ועד. Please be seated. Let's turn to page 149. We'll read together in English toward the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayom, tamidim lo chaleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Hama'ariv aravi.
Amen. We turn to page 150.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, uvkumeinu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha leolam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please join us on page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam ve'shiftecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'shochbecha u'vkumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot bein einecha
וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohechem, Amen. Let's read together on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. As we turn to Mi Chamocha on page 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilo dosefele, nora tehilo dosefele. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam, Ze'eli anu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed V'nemar kivranet Yaakov uge'alo mi'ad chazak mi'imenu Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
We turn now to the top of page 161.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Lishalom. V'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu lechaim, ufros aleinu, Sukkot shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Lishalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Lishalom. there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. We turn now to page 162 at the very top of the page.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru bnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam.
Invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we begin the Amidah together on page 164 and then continue silently from there. As always, please go at your own pace. When you're finished at the end, if you're still standing, you may be seated.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael Mechol eit uvechol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam.
We turn now to page 371 as we offer our Mishaberach, our healing prayer for this evening. Tonight in our community, we're thinking of Ronnie Lidowitz, Madeline Egelfeld, Abigail Blum, Kate Sherwood, Herman Gould, Aimee and Warren Cass, Lorraine Danis, David Dowling, Sylvia Devora, Bot Francis, Shelley Newmark, Diane Axelrod, Gabriella Spicer, David Kyle Klopman, Lorraine Davis, Kim Birnbaum, Deborah Block-Kroll, Sylvia Orn, Rachel Bat Ora, Peretz Ben Shlomo, Israel Ben Yitzchak, Eyal Shachar Ben Mildred. In addition to those names that we just shared, if anyone is liking to add additional names, we're going to start on this side of the room in the front and work to the back of the room, and then this room side of the room, and we just ask you to raise a hand if you want to share names. We invite our friends watching at home to add the names of your loved ones as well, and we'll join together in the middle of page 371.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We offer now our prayer for Israel. Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, rock and redeemer of Yisrael, bless the state of Israel, the dawning of our redemption. Shield it with your compassion and spread over it the sukkah of your shalom. May a spark of your spirit inspire the actions of its elected leaders and officials, judges and advisors, that they may follow the path of justice, liberty, and righteousness. Strengthen the spirit and the hands of those who build and protect our holy land, and grant them salvation and life. Bring shalom to this land and everlasting joy to its inhabitants. Be with all the people of Israel wherever they are. Plant within their hearts the love of Zion, and may those of our people who are so inspired come to Jerusalem, your city, which bears your name. Spread your spirit over all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot hatred and animosity, jealousy and evil. Plant in our hearts love and kinship, peace and friendship. And speedily fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation will not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Let us say together, Amen. It's my honor and my privilege to introduce and then to invite up our guest speaker this evening, Emily Hand, who I had the privilege of meeting it feels like only a few weeks ago, but it may actually be a longer period of time since then. And I want to acknowledge, I know we have Allie Pratt in the room, and we have a number of families connected to the Ross School, which is how we ultimately came to know Emily, and of course through the connections that Shelley made for us as well. And Emily, in her, I should say, your regular job, your day job, is the Senior Operations Coordinator and house parent at the Ross School, neither of which I think are easy jobs by any stretch. But what brings Emily to us tonight is her work with Teach the Shoah, which she's going to tell you a lot more about in just a moment. But just to give, again, a little background, Emily is a Holocaust historian with a passion for education. She has an MA in Holocaust history from the University of Arkansas, which may surprise some of you to know that the University of Arkansas has indeed a Holocaust program. But this is, again, what challenges our mentality about things like this. And Emily represents something deeply important, right? That this is a story, again, that needs to be shared, needs to be told, and especially, as Emily will tell us, all the more so now as the generation of survivors and the children of survivors grow older and as we lose them, right, these stories become all the more important. And Emily's official title, if I understand it correctly, is a keeper and teller of memory for Holocaust survivor Harry Davids, in addition to your other roles as well. Emily, it's my privilege to invite you up to the bima to share your story and to share a little bit of another story with us this evening. It's coming up.
Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for having me here tonight. This was such a beautiful service. I am from a very small town called Flippin, Arkansas. I'm not sure that I met a Jewish person until grad school, so this is also my first time in synagogue, but it was a very special experience. Yes, so when I was 12 years old, I was on a drive with my family, and I saw a Nazi flag in my community. And Arkansas didn't require Holocaust education to be a part of our public school curriculum until 2024, so after I had already graduated. But I've always loved history, and I knew enough to say, that's not good, and I should probably do something about that. So throughout undergrad and grad school, I started doing research. I really learned to understand the impact of a lack of Holocaust education and how that really contributes to anti-Semitism and general hatred in the world. And that's where I came to be with Teach the Shoah. Teach the Shoah is an online international Holocaust education organization, and we have two separate parts. One is really a testimony-based storytelling, but the one I'm going to talk to you a little bit about tonight is the project that I'm in charge of called Lessapere, which means to tell. We find and recruit young adults aged 18 to 30 to interview a Holocaust survivor and to spend 8 to 10 weeks really getting to know their story. And we transform that from several hours worth of interviews into a sort of short 10-minute story that we can then go out and tell. As I said, I've been a historian for much of my life, and I've been passionate about Holocaust education since that moment that I saw the Nazi flag. But until I had this opportunity to interview Harry, whose story I'll tell you tonight, they were numbers in a history book, and they were important, and it was something that needed to be told. But it really went from history to experiences and to stories that I needed to share. As all of you are aware, we are running out of time with these survivors. I was a part of our very first cohort, which was a group of 8 Arkansas students from the University of Arkansas and the University of Central Arkansas. Nobody except for myself knew anything about the Holocaust, and none of us were Jewish. And now we've grown it to 6 additional students last year, and right now we currently have a cohort of 14 students at the University of California, Los Angeles. So we've built that partnership with them. And over 500 people have heard the stories of our Holocaust survivors. And many of those are from our first Arkansas cohort. So these are stories that are being told in places where Holocaust education does not exist. So I would really like to tell you Harry's story tonight. I got to spend 8 weeks with Harry Davids, interviewing him pre, during, and post-war, and I'm actually going to see him next week. And we talk all the time. He reminded me to do my taxes and to be well, and that we'll see each other next week. He's an accountant, as you'll learn. I was born in the fall of 1942, several months after the Nazis had begun deporting Jews from the Netherlands. I lived with my mother and father for 2 months until I was given to a member of the Dutch resistance to go into hiding. It was no longer safe for me to be with them. I would never see my parents again. I was first placed with a group of 4, a mother, father, their daughter, and a young Jewish woman the family was hiding. I lived with them for 6 months until we would be betrayed to the Nazis. The day that the Nazis came to take me away, there was a niece visiting, and the truck that the Nazis brought only had room for 4. So they loaded up the mother, father, daughter, and the young Jewish woman. And they told the niece, "Stay here, we'll come back for the baby." And then they left. A neighbor, who was a member of the Dutch resistance, saw what was happening, and she went from house to house finding other neighbors who could help. And as the truck pulled away, they came to the door and they started pounding and pounding on it, and they said, "We are with the Nazis. You must let us in or there will be trouble." So the niece let them in. As they came in, they grabbed a piece of rope from the kitchen and they wrapped it around and around the niece, tying her up so that when the Nazis returned, she could say, "There was nothing I could have done." And then they left. I was placed on a train to Utrecht the next morning. I would stay there for 2.5 months until the entire system that hid Jewish children would be betrayed. Yet again, the Nazis came and they placed me in the truck, and we went from house to house, finding it and taking other children that were being hidden as part of this system. And again, a neighbor who was a member of the Dutch resistance saw what was happening, and as the Nazis were in another house taking yet another Jewish child's future away, they smashed the windows of the truck and they took me away. I was biked from fishing village to fishing village, trying desperately to find anybody who could save me. You see, I was very sick. I was thin, with sores all over my body, wearing nothing but a diaper and a wet towel. Nobody wanted me. I would eventually end up in Dockham at 14 months old with the Bacher family, where I would live until the end of the war. It wouldn't be until 7 months after the war ended that anybody was even aware of my existence. Eventually, an uncle from South Africa heard about me and he came to find me, but it was months and months of a legal battle. It wasn't until May of 1947 that I would move with him to South Africa. An interesting thing about surviving the Holocaust is that it makes you aware of the seeds of hatred, even before they began to sprout. I was aware of the apartheid many years before many of my peers, and I spent much of my time and energy protesting the system and protesting the hate that had taken my parents away from me and had taken the lives and futures of so many others. Eventually, I moved to America. I've had a good life here. I have a career, friends, family, and I've spent much of my time telling my story. I was very lucky, but so many weren't, and it shouldn't have taken luck to survive. We must stand up and fight. Will you? Thank you. So that's Harry's story, and I'm honored. In the end of the gala, when we've all come together for our first time with our survivors, we stand in front of them and we say, "I promise to keep your memory and tell your story." Teach the Show is an organization that was founded several years ago by our founder, Dr. Deborah Fripp, who realized that in her Sunday school with her children, they were being told about the Holocaust, but they weren't being told about the Jewish experience. They weren't being told about the Jewish joy. Jewish people were not just victims, even though they were the majority who experienced it. And she knew that a change had to be made. And she built this organization off of that. And what we do to teach the Holocaust is to share Jewish stories and Jewish testimonies in that way, instead of really sharing the Nazi narrative, which is what a lot of Holocaust education is. And a few years ago, she and our founder of Holocaust education, Dr. Lynn Feldman, were at a conference, and they said, 10 years ago, Holocaust survivors were asking us, how do we get home health care? And now they're asking, who will tell our story? Who will remember us? So I, along with my counterparts, my peers, those who were recruiting, are standing up and saying, we will tell your story. We will remember you. Thank you for allowing me to share Harry's story. Thank you so much.
Emily, thank you so much for sharing both your story and his story. And as you so poignantly point out, the reality is clear, that as the days go by, as the weeks go by, as the years go by, there will come a point in which there will not be a single survivor left. And it will be upon each one of us in our way to continue to tell those stories. But how powerful to hear it, again, in a first-person narrative in that kind of way. And, for those who would like to know more about the organization, I hope, Emily, that you're going to stick with us. And I hope also, as you know, if this is really your first time in a synagogue, your first time in a service, we're deeply honored for that fact. And we hope very much that whenever the mood should strike you, whenever you should be interested, you are always most welcome here in our community. So I'll invite Emma back up to the bima, and I forgot something important last week, and Jerry reminded me after the fact. I told him he should have reminded me in the moment. Okay, don't forget, just because I'm your rabbi doesn't mean that you can't correct me when I'm wrong. I suppose I shouldn't say that so loudly, but it's important. And I forgot to count the Omer last week for all of us, so we're going to make sure to get back on track this evening. I'll invite us to rise in body or spirit and to turn to page 570, 570, as we mark the counting of the Omer. You can join with me at the beginning of the page, or the top of the page. Hineni muchan umezuman lekayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat haomer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Hayom shisha asar yom shehem shnei shavuot u'shnei yamim laomer. Today is 16 days, which is 2 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. We'll remain standing, and we'll turn to page 586, toward the bottom of the page, Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach l'Adon HaKol, Ha'tekinu Aleon Zer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu K'goyi Ha'arantzot, Velo Sananu K'mishpachot Ha'adama, Shelo Asanu Chalkeinu Kahem, V'gor Aleinu V'kol Amonam, Anachnu Korim, U'mishtachavim, U'modim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 591. V'ne'emar b'chaya Adonai, le'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Ask those in mourning, those observing yahrzeit, to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. We think first of those who passed in our community in recent months: Larry Axelrod, Susan Fleischer Axelrod, Freddie Bernstein, Hillary Butler, Elaine Durfee, Danny Horowitz, Theodore Klopman, Leonard Lauder, Diane Lewis, Judy Lombardo, Thomas Martin, Carol Nadell, Edward Schiff, and Sue Wartor. We also marked the yahrzeit that occurred during the last week for Michael Banner, Joyce Barretts,
Sandra Traeger, Shirley Block, Stuart Danoff, Ralph Davis, Rose Fadum, Leroy Fadum, Dora Field, Hugh France, Mary Gantz, Dora Gastworth, Jason Gruen, Daphne Hafner, Dr. Edwin Heller, Florence Hirsch, Marilyn Crone, Sally Krause, Corinne Lamchick, Samuel Lehman, Arthur Levy, Sidney Mizell, Paul Myrowitz, Barbara Morse, Harry Ronick, Geraldine Rosen, Pauline Sachs, Carol Scheinman, Abraham Shockett, Benjamin Schwab, Aaron Spitzer, Harry Weinstein, Ronald Weller, Hilda Wexler, Ruth Whitelaw, Morris Wolf, and Sadie Zucker. In addition to those names that I just shared, is anyone saying Kaddish for anyone that we did not mention? Invite the mourners to join with me on page 598, and if it's your custom to rise alongside them, you may do so at this time. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach erutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach la'alam u'li'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'halal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom imramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. May you please be seated. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Again, our gratitude and our thanks to Emily for joining us again this evening, for telling us about Teach the Shoah, for sharing that remarkable and powerful story. And as I said, I hope very much if you can make yourself available for anyone who would like to get to know Emily a little bit better, learn a little bit more about Teach the Shoah, we'll have that opportunity next door when we celebrate our Oneg Shabbat. And we thank very much our wonderful Weller family, Ari and Marie, who are remembering Ronald Weller tonight. And as we were talking about, I love to, whenever I can, connect to the person that's being remembered. And, I was talking with Ari, and typical Ari says, no, I'm not looking for, any of that kind of recognition. But I want to mention, that if we're learning something about Ronald Weller, if you didn't know him in life, really, by his hands, by his soul, by his spirit, helped to build, what's the name of the congregation in Texas? Beth Torah. Right, helped to build the shul in all the important ways, and is the embodiment of what we would consider a mensch. Okay, and knowing how much, right, Ari has been essential to bring our new mensch group here to the temple. What a great way, right? Great way to honor his memory, keep it alive, to keep those core values at the core of who we are. Right, this is what it's really all about. So we'll have a chance next door to celebrate a little bit, and if you happen to pass Ari and Marie, maybe they'll tell you a little bit about the wonderful man that we're remembering tonight. I also want to remind everyone that services will begin tomorrow at 10 o'clock, followed by our Torah study, of course, at 12 o'clock and our Kiddush lunch. I have to tell you, we are sold out for the concert tomorrow night. It's probably the first time we have sold out anything in the history of 130 years of the temple.
No pressure.
Great, no pressure. No pressure on Emma, but we're very excited to have Emma and Jolie and Christine to join us. And for those that will be joining us, come make sure that we're all here. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have some great food. And we really appreciate all the effort that you've been putting in, Emma. And, of course, when we get a chance to thank Jolie and, of course, Christine, who we've had the pleasure of listening to for the last several weeks. So, again, that will begin promptly, Shelley, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock tomorrow here at the temple. I also want to remind everyone, coming up on May 3rd, we have a very special guest speaker, Sunday, May 3rd at 10:30, apropos of our conversation of the importance of hearing the story of survivors while we certainly still can. We're going to welcome Holocaust survivor Sammy Steigman, who's going to speak a little bit about him. Mr. Steigman will share his powerful personal story of survival during the Holocaust, offering a message of resilience, tolerance, and the importance of remembrance. His remarks are especially intended to engage the congregation's young people, so we hope if you are in the vicinity of young people, you will bring them to us.
and providing a meaningful and educational experience for the next generation. This event is open to members of the congregation, the community, and invited guests. And we're going to remind everyone of, again, our ongoing commitment here at the temple to the education, the building of community, and the preservation of the memory of the Holocaust. And to that end, we, of course, thank the leaders of our anti-Semitism committee and our participants in our anti-Semitism committee. And, of course, for all of you tonight, and especially for those that helped to light our candles this evening at the beginning of our service, we thank each and every one of you. I want to remind us also that Sunday, April 26th, will be our Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel Day celebration here at the temple, beginning at 3:30, running till 5:30. It's a multi-generational program, again, fun for all ages, a documentary film on Israeli inventions that have changed the world. We're going to have falafel and salad and pita from Almond Restaurant and much, much more. Please do join us again. And it's a little bit earlier in the morning. We try not to schedule too many things happening on the same day, but that same Sunday, April 26th, here at 9:30, our second meeting of the new Mensch group. Title for our study this time will be The Battle Within. So if you didn't join us the first time, that's not a problem. Come join us, okay? If you can't make it this time, come to the next one. This is a great group of people with a great purpose, and we hope very much that you'll join us. We'll feed you first, and then we'll do some learning and some community building and some sharing. So if you know a mensch who is in need of a little bit of that development, or somebody who is aspiring to be a mensch, this is the group for you. Last, I want to thank again our Social Justice Committee for helping us to get bikes for those who really need it, and again to emphasize in a rural area like this where transportation is not easy, where those don't, not everyone has a car, especially those most in need and usually working the hardest. This is a great way of helping people to safely, as safe as it is to be on the road on a bike out here, to safely get from point A to point B and to do the good work that they are doing. So if you have a bike, again, in good, safe condition, please bring it to us. The deadline is April 26th, so you can bring it to Yom HaAtzmaut. You can bring it to the mensch. Great opportunity to be a mensch, right, if you have a bike. Since your rabbi does not know how to ride a bike, this is not one that I can easily participate in, but I'm sure many of you have something taking up space in the basement or in the shed somewhere. If you can bring it, please do. And again, thank you to our Social Justice Committee for continuing to keep us in the right direction, as it were. So we're going to end our service. We'll turn it over to Emma and to Christine, and then we'll do Kiddush and Motzi and go next.
We'll end with,
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, Rosh Chodesh, Sunday. Thank you very much. 2 o'clock at the temple, Rosh Chodesh. And please contact Ellen if you've never been before and want to learn more. Please contact Ellen, or if you're with us tonight, Ellen's right here. You can find her and learn more. Thank you, Ellen.
now we're going to close with Olam Chesed. The only Hebrew words are Olam Chesed Yibaneh and some Yadadais. Please join in. It's repetitive, and we could use a little bit more Chesed in our world.
Indeed.
Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. 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 Try it with me. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai.
Please rise for Kiddush, page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bohorei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemase v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Ivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
shalom.
Please come next door.